Good.
Hello,
Yeah.
Sue.
Hey there,
Start
Andre.
over. Yes, the my proposal is about change. It's about coming together to work for humanity, helping others, and committing to nonviolence. So I call it the new narrative. And the promotion is about nonviolence, then, that we can all keep doing what we're doing. We're not asking anyone to stop working for their own cause. But while they're promoting their own cause, also promote a global movement of nonviolence. That's what we can all unite now. We see that the war has changed everything, and war is not good. All the money goes to militarism, and we need the money for the world crises and for the children, as you wrote, for the grandchildren. That's the key to unite everyone, is for the children, and so that there's no violence.
Yeah.
And so there are political aspects. There's a political goal to renounce war. Everyone in their own country ask their own government, not someone else telling them what to do, to renounce war. And a precedent was set when COVID came along. The Secretary General of the United Nations saw that we need money for the vaccinations around the world. And so he did something, to me, is the most profound in the world. He issued a call for a global ceasefire. And in essence, that he's saying that this will affect all issues, and especially the climate, which is existential. We need for the climate movement to have funds. And we saw that COP26 is the governments aren't going to do it because they have to compromise. So it's understandable, but we need a people movement when there's an emergency. And this is what I'm now proposing, that because it's an emergency, that an emergency plan is what I'm prepared. I tried to be proactive with it. It's so hard to do that. We all have been proactive, but now it's reactive. And so I've been very fortunate to be connected to the Secretary General of the United Nations. And I want to go back now with all that's happened since when I was there, because I was at his office and I had to meet with his people that are under him. I was screened and they didn't see the value at the time. I understand. They sent me down the line instead of back up the line. And so after COP26 and after the Secretary General issued a call for a global ceasefire, I thought, well, what if the women leaders from the climate movement came together with the women leaders from the peace movement, united, and then all come together to invite all the movements and then invite the men, because it's not exclusive to women. But if women are first, then things will happen right now. And so that's been my theory all along, and it's been designed where women enlist women. I've been, of course, sending out that message, but I'm a man, so there are obstacles because of that. But I understand.
A little prejudice.
And some prejudice, but some for good reasons. The people have been abused, people have been taken advantage of, and they don't trust anymore. But nonviolence is all about creating trust and respect among nations and people, so local and global.
Yep.
So when Karen told me that you were the director of the environmental program for We the World, I thought, oh, that's fantastic. That's now, if you would be interested in coming together with me to enlist women leaders first as the catalyst to get everything to unite the world, all the religions, all the mayors and community leaders. Everyone's working for climate and peace.
Yep.
But now as a uniting tool, and we the world is about uniting, that all under one umbrella, nonviolence. Once we unite, then we have strength for the individual programs. And that's my theory. And so I've been fortunate to meet recently with some philanthropists. So I'm meeting with them again in September. And I'm hoping to have the team ready to say to those philanthropists, here's what we're doing. Here's why it'll work. Because with all these segments, there's a marketing plan, there's administration, there's leadership, there's all the components together that they will then be the financial backing for the plan.
Cool.
And that's for just the startup, because then we need the big money.
Yeah.
And so I come from a business background. I was entrepreneurial as a young man in the restaurant business. And I had learned how to put together the information for in the business world, then for business backing, for financial backing. And so I want to use those skills that I learned for now. And so when I go to the Secretary General, I'm going to be asking him to assemble an emergency peace meeting. And so that it has strength behind it. I gave it that name. And now with what's going on in the world, it's apropos. And we'd invite the women, some specific women leaders, and if they can't, then some others. But I have my proposal, my recommendation. And the climate movement is vitally important in that. And then philanthropists, the media, and also specialists. An economist that I've been following is all about coming together to solve the world crises. And we have to now devote our efforts not to militarism and all that's been happening. So he's important. And then there's other specialists that we'd invite to show the women leaders that there are all the tools to help this movement with their leadership, asking them to be first to issue a call to women, a worldwide unity campaign to unite so we can address the world crises. And that's,
I'm with you.
yeah, thank you.
I'm with you.
I've been so fortunate to be on this journey. And so I'm so glad to meet you. I can see that with all the people that you've networked with, and now my request would be to say, how can we get one or two women leaders that are at the top, like Naomi Klein or Greta Thunberg, or from the UN, Christiana Figueres, who was the UN leader for the climate change movement, or Vandana Shiva from India, or Mary Robinson, the chair of elders. She has her own foundation for climate change.
Who is that? Oh, Marianne?
Mary Robinson.
Marianne, the political? No, Mary.
Mary Robinson. She was the first woman president of Ireland, maybe the only.
Oh, yeah.
President. Then she became High Commissioner for Human Rights at the UN.
Okay, let me write all this down.
Sure.
Because she's a good one. First woman president
of Ireland.
Ireland. I remember hearing her. And what else at the UN?
The High Commissioner for Human Rights.
Beautiful.
And then she went to Africa as special commissioner to work in some war zones. And then she finished that, and she's now the chair of the elders, which is the
Ah,
organization that Mandela started. Kofi
yes,
Annan was the leader, the chair, and then he passed away, and she became the chair.
cool. Okay,
So,
all right.
so if those women then united with the women leaders from the peace movement, but really we need one that's going to take this idea and help to get it started. They're working, everyone's busy on their own projects.
Of course.
So it has to be proposed as just a beginning stage. And if they want to do more, which they probably will once it gets going, because it'll help their own issues, but need someone now to at least be the spokesperson to then go back to Guterres to join with us to say, Mr. Secretary General, this is the perfect time now to implement this plan. And we've tried to simplify it. I saw that's what you said that you can do as a teacher, and simplify it so everyone can understand it. So that we're asking people to join us everywhere to stop the war in Ukraine and to reverse the direction, to not go shock and awe, but go kindness, generosity, compassion, tolerance, forgiveness, and genuine caring.
Love it.
So
You sound like Karen.
thank you.
Yes.
So
All
there's
right. I want to tell you how I see us doing that. That you're
please.
thinking at the global level, which is where I was focused for years and years, and following what is happening, like you. Here's what I see. These are how it could go together. And 3 years ago, oh, let me just say my grandson's at the door. Let me just
Oh, sure.
you might want to pause the recording. I'll be right back. Okay. Yeah, so I have a signal with my grandson that when my blinds are closed, I'm on a call, and he knows. He's 4 years old and very respectful of that.
Wow.
And so he came to the door. I forgot to close the blinds. And he's looking and realized what was happening. So anyway, and he told me to close the blinds. So I'm back, and I want to tell you what happened. So about I told you I was working at the global level. We the World does that, right? And so a lot of the people that you mentioned, not a lot, some of the people that you mentioned have been involved with We the World over the years,
Yes.
and as speakers and whatever.
Yes.
And so 3 years ago, our city and county in Gainesville, Florida, declared a climate emergency.
Yes.
And so I got into that whole network on the national level of people declaring climate emergency. What does that mean? Who's doing it? How do they do it? What follows after that? So I got involved with what was happening at the local level, and worked with a friend of mine at the University of Florida who is with the extension. You're familiar with the extension program? It's the outreach, it's like community education, where they're reaching out with the research that they've learned at the university and drawing in. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've been waiting for a call from the cable company. I'm just going to take it real quick. Let me put it on
Okay.
pause.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So where was I?
I was
Yeah,
at
where
the
were you?
part where we had the climate emergency with our city and county. I'm talking with the lady at the university who is the state director for a program called Sustainable Floridians. And it's active in 5 counties. It's kind of if the people at the extension agency in each county decide to do that program, it will happen, and some start and it doesn't go. So there are 5 active ones. And we did not have one in Alachua County. And she said, I want you to help me start that and use your storytelling, right, to build into our program.
Yes.
So year one, 2020 and 21, we did the Sustainable Floridians program in Alachua County over 8 months, meeting once a month. And brought in the storytelling. I tried to do the children's story. That didn't quite work with that group. And what we ended up with was your climate story, right? When did you learn about the problems with the climate and what's happening in the world? And how did it make you feel? And let's talk about that. And what are you doing, or what do you want to do? And that is your story, just those 3 pieces. And so they honed that, and we did it on We the World. Welcome to We Show, and told all these climate stories. I think we had 8 people tell their 3-minute climate stories. And so that was year one. And I'm still working with the people, some of the people in that class, right? That we
Great.
started we called it, because it was for the Sustainable Floridians as a statewide program. We called it the Florida Climate Conversation to Action Program. And so that Welcome to We Show was our action. And we're still doing our action. And so this is 2 years later. So last year, I worked primarily with children's groups and did the children's storytelling piece, and ended up doing it as Zoom theater. So that, it's just kids on the Zoom with me. And I did slides with our cartoon characters, and it's intergenerational. There's the sages of the ages who they bring in, our experience of a lifetime, right? So you will be a perfect sage of the ages. And we have them as characters in our children's story. We're going into the story starts out in space, looking at the whole human. There's a song for that. It is a musical that we're making. And it says, I'm 200 miles in space, circling the human race, wondering, will we win or lose it all? And so what we're doing is playing it as a game. And have you ever done an escape room? Do you know what that is? Well, my grandchildren introduced me to the escape room, and we've done, I think, 3 of them. And they are so fun
Wow.
for a group of people, like a family, 3
Yeah.
generations together, totally involved in this thing, helping each other. There are things that only the older people know, things that only the younger people know. And so they have to work together, right?
Yes.
And so I took that concept, and the idea is you go into a room and they have them just decorated to the hilt. So you're in, an environment. You come into a whole new world in 3 rooms, just a small space. To figure out probably 20 happened in that other room. Go get that and bring it back here, and that fits in this piece, So it's just a real puzzle. It's a big puzzle, and you have to work together to solve it within an hour. And you can, if you get stuck, you just say boop, and you push a button, and you have your game master ready to help you and answer a question, give you a hint, right? So I'm taking all of those elements and putting them into a community-wide climate conversation to action program. And we're playing the sustainable, well, I used to call them Sustainable World Games. Now we're calling it the World House Games, because what we're doing is using, and this is, I'm just throwing all the pieces of it at you. We're using the Sustainable Development Goals as the blueprint for a better future. That's what they call it, right?
Yes,
And we have to win those goals by 2030 in order to escape the climate calamity, right?
yes.
And so that's our 10 years. They keep saying 10 years. We're down to 8 now, right? And so it's by 2030. We can do this, but it's going to take us all working together. And so that's the storytelling piece that we put together in year 2. Now we're coming into year 3, where I spent the summer working on developing the local network. I'm no longer working at the global level, though we still have all that available to us. I know it's there. We can call on anyone we need. So all of those people that you mentioned, the top level people, our children are going to call to them to help, right? Because we are starting, I just had a meeting yesterday with the Girl Scouts of North Florida. I mean, the curriculum developers, the STEM coordinator, the program designers. And I am starting a workshop on October 1st to help them win. They are playing a climate challenge until the end of November. And they have to accomplish 10 activities, and they win a badge, the climate challenge badge, right? And so that is the fast, let's do this. I'm setting it up as the escape room, escape the climate calamity, hurry, hurry, hurry. We got to do this by the end of November, and set the
Deadline.
specific actions that are already in their program. I'm just using their program to say,
Right.
this is your challenge. And so there's that. So there's 6,000 Girl Scout Council, right? And they have almost an equal number of adults helping them, most of whom are women, I'm sure,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so we got the women and the girls. And one reason that I really wanted to work with the girls and women is that when the drawdown came out, you familiar with drawdown?
No.
This came out, I would say, 8 years ago, maybe. Um, and it is scientific study at the PhD level for many, 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 I think 200 PhD research programs to say, what do we have right now that would help us to draw down this excess CO2 and, stop putting it up there, right? Technologies, and one numero uno um, tools that we have access to right now today is educating women, right? That by educating the girls and raising a powerful generation of women, that is, I think they said that was easily half of what needs to be done. Okay. So that became a focus. I wanted to work with girls. Okay, another thing is peace. I wanted to work with the peacemakers. I'm calling this whole thing climate action for peace, because don't take care of the climate. Well, you can see it already, the climate refugees and the droughts that just, and the fires and everything that just stops all the food production, disrupts everything. It disrupts everything. And so yeah, so peace is a necessary piece of it as our systems fall apart. And this is really the gets to the interfaith piece of this, that my belief as a Baha'i, I'm a Baha'i,
Oh,
is that you know, Baha'u'llah, the earth's equilibrium hath been upset by the vibrating
I'm,
of the new world. Soon will the old world order be rolled up,
I'm
and a new
sorry.
one. Soon will the old world order be rolled up.
Oh,
This is scriptural from the Baha'i faith, and a new one spread out in its stead. And so like you're saying, this is the new story, that we are creating. And you can either focus on the destruction of the old, or you can facilitate the building of the new. And so, that's what I can say in what we do as a monthly interfaith devotional, um, where we are supporting. I say that this interfaith climate group is providing the spiritual foundation for the community-wide climate conversation to action program. And so it's over here in its own little corner, right?
right.
And we're doing what we do and have such joy in it. And not everybody wants to do that. And that's fine, because there's so much to be done.
That's,
And
but it's
so
vital.
we're just, that's an important part of this whole process, and is the most important to me, right? I feel
Yes.
like that's the core.
For some reason, you're freezing every once in a while. That's why
Oh,
on my internet company called me, because I called for the problem.
oh,
And so on some of the Baha'i statements that you made, you were frozen and we missed it.
yeah,
But we
that's
can always,
okay.
people can always ask us about it, right? If this recording,
There's more to that story, but that's you got the gist of it.
yes,
And so the idea is that a group of support in Alachua County, Florida. And you saw on my name is of Alachua County, Florida, right?
yes,
So
right,
this is like my service project for my faith, right? And so I just this week also, um our what we call the climate collaboratory is now a project of the River Phoenix Center for Peace Building. Okay. And so our goal is to just have a web presence on their website by September for the 11 days of global unity. Okay.
yes,
And then that leads, of course, to the International Day of Peace. And this River Phoenix Center for Peace Building has been a lead in the International Day of Peace celebrations for probably 20 years. You know, that there's a huge movement in Alachua County around that. Also, with the United Nations, I'm very tightly woven into the United Nations Association of Gainesville, and helping some of those people from that organization to take a lead in our collaborative storytelling adventure. So they're in the videos with the kids, right?
yes.
And so yeah, I'm just weaving this whole thing together, and it's so much fun. So
Well, it
yeah.
sounds fantastic, and I
Yeah.
commend you. You're a great teacher, I'm sure. I can tell, and it is so important. It's the children are the future, and they have to be indoctrinated into what's important. And what better than the way you're doing it?
So I would like to consider you part of our global network of support,
Yes,
and
thank you.
actually our national network of support. And Yeah, so we can pull you in as a, one of the experts in this field as we work with the Girl Scouts and other groups. I'm also doing a workshop on September 6th with the Earth Charter youth leaders. All right.
Oh,
So it's really, the plot is getting so thick and rich. It's just really fun. And yeah. So people have been upset with me for all these years because I was so hard to understand. And it's getting to be real, and it is just such a thrill and a blessing.
yeah. Well, we need global and local, no doubt about it.
Yep.
And unfortunately for me, as a peace activist, I'm studying all the bad things too. So it's good because then I can figure out something to counter the bad. But the bad things the leaders are saying are getting worse. So
Yes.
I don't know if I froze up a little bit because
Yes, you did.
I just got an announcement. My internet is unstable. It just said there.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, we do what we can with
Yes.
what we got.
Yes. So uh, my thought process says that uh, everything is coming to a main point where things can happen, and that window is open now.
Yes.
But the war derailed a lot of good efforts because more oil is being produced, more the military budgets went up.
These are minuscule in the scale of things. Don't worry about it. This is just part of the process of the old deteriorating. It will get worse.
Yes.
We have to focus on what needs to be done. You are one of the leaders in what needs to be done, and don't waste your time trying to fix what's not fixable.
Right.
Please.
Well, that's why I look at it from the thank you and I look at it from the positive avenue. And we're going in this direction forward. I call it a wedge that, and it's slow but sure. It's like the turtle. And instead of going in shock and awe, we're going in the direction of kindness and working together. All that Karen represents and all the spiritual leaders, Marianne Williamson is fantastic. It's all about self-help and looking at the future and being positive.
Yep.
And that's what I'm saying is the proposal that I'm giving to the Secretary General is to say we want the whole world to say, look, we know we can't solve all the problems and there's going to be these things happening, but here's the direction we're going and we want everyone to join.
Okay. And
So,
I would suggest that if you can plug into what I have going for the children, the Girl Scouts, working with Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, 4-H, the major youth development programs that are really making a huge difference. If you, anyway, I can go on about that, but to work with the people who are making the change, and work, especially now that we have this connection with the River Phoenix Center for Peace Building. And that it has a deep connection with the National Institute for Peace. And I worked with them on We the World conversations, and many of the institutional level peace education programs, right? And so, and of course, working with the interfaith peace movement and climate action for peace movement. And so, working with the movements, not saying I've got the answer here, this is what you should be doing, to say, here's what we have. We have the Girl Scouts, we have the children, we have the youth, we have the adults. I think on another day, I would like to just show you the program that we're developing over this next year
Yes,
and have you do that with us. If you could bring your philanthropists and your business knowledge into this program, we can, get it into these systems. Um, and especially with the University of Florida going into all the counties. So what we're looking at is making Alachua County a model of this community-wide climate conversation to action. And it's, I've mentioned climate action for peace. Anyway, it's just so delightful. I'll show you some of our story and the videos and the things that I would like to have you support so that you can do what you're trying to do. Do you see what I'm
yes,
saying?
I do.
Okay. And so I urge you to consider working with us in a wonderful way. Karen and I dreamed up so many neat things over the years, and we can work with her and the others at We the World. And it's just the time is right. And you hear all these things that have been happening in the last week, really. In the last week, it's just been flowing. And then coming in August and September, October, yeah, and then in January we have a huge program for Martin Luther King. That's where it's his vision of the world house that we're
Yes,
building on. So the whole social
yes.
justice is
It all
part of
comes
that.
together.
Yeah. So putting it together every image that we can and weaving them into the story. I've been working on that for years. And so it's happening. I invite you to join us, support us, find the joy that we're all finding in it, and
Yes, thank you.
know that we have the connections to the UN, and it's coming at it maybe from a different. I don't think I don't think the Secretary General is going to be able to hear what you're saying. We have to show him, right? And we have to show him in the way that it is a movement and it is blossoming. And I've got people right here in Alachua County, and we got a song for that. And
I'm all about songs. You can see my guitar in the background there.
and I love your bow tie. I know
Thank you.
that you are the kind of guy we like.
I'll sing a song and just say a word and I'll sing a song.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, we've got a bunch of people doing a climate concert on September 7th. And I would love for you to we haven't even talked about live streaming it, but of course we should. And so anyway, there's just so much we can talk about, so much we can do together. And I really invite you to help us think locally and demonstrate locally what this looks like in action with. We're naming 100 organizations in Alachua County that are working for the Sustainable Development Goals. And we're going to play games with them
That's
through
terrific.
through the year and involve them all in the common vision, that we are going to win those sustainable development goals by 2030. And that's the Secretary General's goal, right?
Yes.
Let us show him how we are doing that in Alachua County. And anybody can do what we're doing in their own part of the world. What part of Massachusetts are you in? Right in Boston?
In Newton.
Newton. Yes. And I did my student teaching in Newton.
Oh, how
Yeah.
about that?
And
And the first book that I read on peace and women was from Simmons College.
there you go. Yep.
So
It's time. It is definitely time for this to happen. So I'm just delighted to meet you.
yeah, thank you. So my work is uh there's a lot of elements that probably will never happen. But my main goal right now still is to get back to the Secretary General. It may not work. But if you, over the next few days, would consider trying to connect me with one major woman is what I'm looking for now, is my last thing that'll bring everything together. And if you would consider that, that would be wonderful as well, because when I make my call to the Secretary General, I want it to be so that it shows that there's something from each main department. So I'm working on now the philanthropists, the media, and women. So there's, for example, I had a woman. She was the former president of the Inter-Parliamentary Union. She was going to go with me to the Secretary General in 2020, and it got derailed because of COVID. And now everything's derailed, in my opinion, all the good works of the climate movement because of war. And so this is, I feel, is my time to make my proposal. So I'm looking just for that final strength that I
Yeah.
see it. So if you consider it, please.
Well, I'm wondering, do you have a real short, concise statement? I know you kind of wrote
Yes.
you wrote about it, but it doesn't yet say to me, this is what we're doing.
Okay, I have a small brochure
Mhm.
that it's a trifold that you open
Okay,
up. And I have
good.
it electronically. I can send you. It's in 2 pages,
Yes,
but you can read that. I'll send that to
good.
you. So I tried to encapsulate everything, and that's technically designed for women leaders to read as the first document.
Good.
And then I can write up another small document that adds the current aspects that aren't on the pamphlet.
Okay. And what I will do is send you a form that I have to fill out and plant your seed idea in the gardens of global unity where all things are possible. Okay. And
Perfect.
we are gonna just put that in there. We'll make mention of it as the children explore the gardens on the 11 days of global unity. And that's September 11th to 21st through
Yes.
the International Day of Peace.
Yes.
And so I would like to have your proposal in the Garden of Peace and the Garden of Women, right?
Thank you.
And so we'll just plant it right there and see who wants to jump on board. And I don't really know offhand who I would say would be the woman. I think that what I would rather do is wait and let the children identify the woman that they want to ask to do that, to go with you. If you say, I'm looking for the woman, and we'll make that one of the challenges in our escape climate calamity. We need to find a woman who has, a connection with the Secretary General so that, and I would probably want like the Girl Scouts, to have a team of Girl Scouts put together a presentation to go to the UN Secretary General. That's what I would do. Yeah. And I can have them make a plan to do that by November 30th. Okay. And when do you intend to go talk to him?
Um, Actually, I've been hoping for September or October, but that may not happen. That's my goal, because I see once the presidential election starts up in the United States and the campaigning, the people in the US, their attention will be towards our own politics. And so I see the window as between January 1st and June 21st. So I thought that I have to get started in September and October, if possible, so that we have time to make all the final plans because I have a whole comprehensive plan for what to do when the movement starts. As a guideline, everyone would look at it and then see how they can adapt to how they want to do it. Of course, not me telling them what to do, but as a guideline. So that was my goal.
Yeah.
Because I
I
see,
I I would like to make a suggestion.
sure,
But you don't want to tell them what could happen when the movement starts. You want to say this, the movement is happening,
mm,
and you just need to have eyes to see what it is. Let me help you. Let these scouts help you to see what the reality is of the role that women and children are playing in this climate movement for peace. It's
a very
huge.
good point.
It's huge. I mean, you got Greta. You need to get that whole movement and just say, this is what we're doing. They're already saying it.
Yes,
Just figure a way to work with the many groups that are already doing what you're trying to do. They're already doing it. Millions of people
yes, they're
are
already
doing it.
doing it.
Yes. And so to get that message really clear, I support you 100% in getting something at the UN level. In January, February, we're going to be really focusing on the SDGs and
Yes,
to say this is our goal for, what is it, 16, peace, democracy, and whatever, and nonviolence, I believe. And so working with the River Phoenix Center for Peace Building is we're in the right place. We got all the pieces. We just need to package it. And that's what this thing is, so that we're going to be doing a musical play for Earth Month in March and April. And anybody can play along with us. We're going to have our little, the whole Escape the Climate Calamity encapsulated in 6 shows like Karen does, right? And we'll be able to show this whole thing, exactly what you're talking about, from the viewpoint of the children connected with their global networks of support. And so we have a movement that we're connecting all the different movement of movements. That's what I learned working with We the World, is we're connecting the movement of movements and giving it a common vision so that we can, I mean, it's happening. It's already
yes,
happening.
it's already
And so we
happening.
just have to ride the wave, and step by step, I call it, we're on the road to 2030 when we're going to win those goals. 2050, we're going to have peace on and with the earth. And what we're doing is saying that in 2045, which is the 100th anniversary of the United Nations, we're going to celebrate the end of war. That's what we're doing, because it's already a call at the United Nations. What you heard about, let's just call a ceasefire. That is a movement at the United Nations to make that happen. And so the work that we're doing in Alachua County, in the local level, in the schools, with the Girl Scouts, with all the different groups that we're working with, that's the way it's going to happen. Is not at the top level saying, okay, guys, we need to do this. People are already doing it. You just need to tap into what's already happening that is your vision.
Yes,
Okay. And I can help you with that. I can.
thank you. It was wonderful to meet you. I'll send you some information right away.
And I'll send my form for you to fill out.
Great, great. Thank you, Sue. Very nice to
It's
meet
been
you.
wonderful.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace and love.